Alexa, what is NASA's Serpent deity going to be doing on the eclipse on April 8th?
NASA's initiative, dubbed Atmospheric Perturbations Around the Eclipse's Path, also known as APEP, aims to explore the effects of this decrease in sunlight and temperature on the Earth's APEP. Draws its name from the ancient Egyptian mythological serpent deity, a nemesis of the sun god Ra.
It's called Leave the World Behind.
After talking about this movie all day yesterday, last night I was in this hotel room and I woke up in the middle of the night and I didn't know which door led to where, and I got a little disoriented and a little jet lagged, and I just thought, what if the building collapses?
Oh no!
Now, and this isn't me, right? I'm an easy person. I'm easygoing. I'm happy, and I was like, what if the building collapsed?
I saw this with my husband yesterday, and we loved it. It's a thriller, but it has all these subliminal messages, and you leave it up to the viewer as to what you're perceiving.
About to see is me asking Alexa about the Serpent deity program that NASA has created, and they will be shooting 3 rockets at the eclipse.
So the movie starts with a couple in their bedroom. It's the point of their comfort. This relates to a relaxed state. They were bringing people into a point of comfort as soon as the movie began. And so right from this point of comfort, a couple, a husband and a wife, has decided that they will go on a vacation. So this was actually being done at the beginning to build a relationship where the viewer and the actors on the screen, the characters on the screen, start to build some type of internal agreement.
Check this out. Something going on.
Should be very alarming, but also alarming. But
the massive flames took it out. While everyone's talking about this bridge and the ship that took it out, how many of you heard about the bridge in Ohio from this morning? Fox News did an article on it out of Ohio. Cause of massive flames under Valley View Bridge revealed. They're saying a large fire reportedly caused by spontaneous combustion broke out at Kurtzbros Incorporated near the I-480 Valley View Bridge early Tuesday morning. Odd. Have you ever known a bridge to just spontaneously combust the same exact day that a cargo ship, as you can see right here, takes out another bridge in Maryland? Awesome. You know what? People call me conspiracy theorist, and you know what? You're probably right. There's probably nothing to worry about. 2 bridges in the same day, one spontaneously combusting, the other has a ship that...
NASA has launched a new program called Serpent Deity as part of the Artemis program. The program, dubbed Viper, aims to develop technologies and techniques for sustainable lunar exploration. The initiative is focused on exploring the lunar South Pole, which is believed to contain water ice and other resources. Viper's objectives include conducting detailed surveys of the lunar surface and assessing the feasibility of extracting and using lunar resources.
Mysteriously crashes into and destroys the entire ship that's going to take 4 to 5 years to build back. No big deal. It's all just a coincidence. We're not under attack. You have no reason to plan for anything, and you should continue to live your best life that you're currently living.
But what is important to note is that the wife is packing before the husband can even get out of bed. And in this instance, I knew immediately that the husband and the wife are the representation and the makeup of an individual. You have the masculine energy, which is the physical, and the feminine energy, which is the spiritual. And this is the first instance symbolically that I notice of a physical and spiritual disassociation.
In the news, March 26th, the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore collapsed. It collapsed at 1:28 a.m.
Alexa, is the serpent deity going to be doing anything during the eclipse?
From Wikipedia.org. In Kpompongan mythology, Lao is depicted as a bird-like dragon or serpent that causes both solar and lunar eclipses. However, its features are closer to the demon Rahu. Also, I can tell you the fun holiday of the day when I hear your morning alarm. Would you like me to set up that routine?
It collapsed 128 days before Francis Scott Key's birthday. In gematria, bridge collapse equals 128. It happened in Maryland. Maryland equals 128. Obama's movie, Leave the World Behind, about the power grid going down.
When you hear someone has died because you're in a state of shock, your body might freeze and be unable to react to the news. That is why they show the portion in the movie where they said that the mother died. And they didn't really show that, but the Niji daughter believed that. And the Niji dad said that he believed that as well, through the use of feeling and using their imagination, of course.
It begins with a cargo ship named White Lion. White Lion equals 128. Power grid equals 128. Obama's movie came out on 12/8, like 128. The bridge collapsed 128 days after Joe Biden's birthday, and the cargo ship was named Dali after Salvador Dali, who has a painting called The Broken Bridge in the Dream, which equals 128. Jesus is coming soon.
This association may feel like daydreaming at a boring work meeting or zoning out when driving down a long highway. But it can also be your mind's coping mechanism when confronted with too much stress, such as a traumatic event. When your body encounters a frightening or tense situation, it enters a fight, flight, which we see multiple planes flying within this movie, or a freeze response.
At this point, give me a fucking simple fact because the shit is just off the charts. Number one, do y'all remember how in Leave the World Behind it started with a massive cargo ship, kind of like the one that just crashed into the Key Bridge? Why was there another bridge that had an accident and caught fire in another major city?
So if you haven't guessed it already, they are attempting to hypnotize your inner child within this movie, who they openly state is always psyched.
These two bridges happened less than 3 hours apart from each other in different locations.
Right before they go into the beach, it's a sign right here that says Charleston Harbor. Now, many people are going to see this sign and they're going to think of Charleston, South Carolina.
What are the chances that these are major cities and these bridges lead in and out of these major cities and they are all of a sudden being literally
or where it's in relation to slaves being offered at an auction block. But what people are unaware of is the true meaning of Charleston. If you break that down by the sounding of the word, you can actually get the real words and the real meanings behind it.
Along with them telling us that this solar eclipse on April 8th, the National Guard is supposed to be here. We won't have cell service. It's causing a massive uproar due to people trying to get in and out of major cities.
Charleston, Charleston, or CH making the K sound, you have Carleston, or careless tongue. Now let's take that ton off because ton means something in a great amount. So we have charless, careless, and churlish.
I'm just a conspiracy theorist, so don't take everything I say as fact, belief, or to be true.
All of these are in relation and basically the same word. It's just people didn't realize what it was or what it was meant to be because it's being stated all together. And I'm going to prove this by the definition and showing this right here.
And these are just my own ideas, opinions, and beliefs.
And so Charles
Even though I do use real material in articles, I am simply stating what I believe.
So who are they talking about? And why does she say they have the beach all to themselves? In the definition of the word beach, which is the ability to run or haul something, to bring it ashore. They're going after that bag. And the only reason why they're able to do such a thing is because of the outside pollution that has broken down the natural barriers. And they show this to you on the screen in two different scenarios. What goes over many people's heads is that this is a pollution that broke down the barriers within an individual, within their mindset and their body.
To allow people to get in and out of these places.
Now, you have the ship with the name White Lion that comes ashore. And this part gets a bit deep, as everyone believes that the White Lion refers to a slave ship that brought the first enslaved Africans or Negroes into Jamestown in 1619.
The picture of the actual ship from Leave the World Behind. I'm going to show you what it looks like in the movie and the one that just crashed into the Cuban.
But what is really being stated here is that the White Lion is what brought the first enslaved, the firstborn, into slavery.
There are multiple photos of the scene that the ship was in and how it was used in Leave the World Behind,
which represents order and truth. Ra, on the other hand, represented illumination, making him the primary antagonist of Apep.
As Jamestown refers to the town, tongue, tone, or toe in of one who follows. And so now knowing this gives more reference to the White Lion ship coming on shore within this movie, because it has a total different meaning altogether. And ultimately, this meaning deals with hypnotization. They want your eyes to be hip, bringing awareness. In the world of hypnotization, a hypnotist is only good at what they do if they can take something foreign and
to launch 3 scientifically oriented rockets into the moon's shadow on Monday, April the 8th, coinciding with a partial solar eclipse spanning North America.
Familiar environment and make it more familiar. If they can take something that seems out of place and put it somewhere it doesn't belong.
And then here's the freaking ship that crashed.
And if you can recall earlier, when I gave the definition of disassociation and what causes it, I stated disassociation is a form of the freeze response. Notice how when the ship was getting closer, At first, everyone froze because they didn't know what to do next. And then they took action. They went into the flight response. Listen, because this also sheds light onto the different meanings of what is intended by the word beach. It is a nod to beck, as in to beckon something. Spelling beach using the CH as a k sound, you have beck, and you also have beak. And that is why you have the word white lion at the bow of the ship, as it has been beckoned to come upon the shore. At this point, it is no longer captained by its original captain. And this was the entire goal from the get-go, to bring the cowardly white lion onto the beach, using the beak onto the back.
During this celestial event, which will feature a total solar eclipse along a 115-mile wide path across parts of Mexico, 15 U.S. states and Canada, and a partial eclipse throughout the Americas, there will be a noticeable decrease in sunlight.
This is the command for only a particular group of people, as the only people who were enduring tragedy within this movie were poor whites and blacks, no matter how wealthy they were.
Am I tripping, or does that not look the same? Mine is the top that has obviously been taken off.
1619, because that's how you get to Jamestown, and especially when you want to disassociate someone from their original ship. How do you do that? By changing the frequency. So when we look at the image of 1619, I want you to know that it's not 1619. It's actually stating 16 and 19.
And then hours after the first bridge literally gets rammed into and people...
Which is the frequency of 69 hertz. And the frequency of 69 hertz is allegedly the lowest and least known sound to have been studied. 69 hertz act as a resonance.
The suborbital rockets will not ascend into totality, but will instead launch from Wallops Flight Facility on Wallops Island, Virginia.
Deepener. Well, how do they know this? The 69 hertz, a resonant deep in her, or a resonant deepener.
Or in the water.
As per NASA, Forbes has reported, an ancient Egyptian deity symbolized darkness and serving as the adversary of light and Ma'at.
You have a spontaneous combustion of a massive fire underneath another gigantic bridge. And both of these incidents happened today, Tuesday, March 26th. Hours apart.
The word resonant is defined as a sonnet, which is a sound similar to a sonar or tone of speech. To resonant, you must first resonate.
On the day of the solar eclipse on April 8th, I didn't believe it. Someone sent that to me. I'm like, come on, they don't have a program called Serpent Deity. But they do.
Which is to meet someone's agreement, to change the sound that was originally there and to make it fit with something else. A resonant deep in her, or a resonant deepener. Sort of like when someone has a surgery. If there is a particular implantation and the body feels that it's something foreign, there will be complications and a rejection will occur to the thing that's trying to be implanted. So in order to make something less foreign and to bring it into alignment, a particular thought must be lodged as a deeper standing within someone's mind.
Where 81% of the sun will be obscured by the moon. This event is slated to occur at 3:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And in order to do this, a sound must be attached. That's why they have these strange sounds that are playing within the movie repeatedly. It's a deepener.
Please tell me what you think. As soon as I ask Alexa, comment. Because what the...
Other instances where a deepener was used was when the Caucasian mom and the needy daughter were finally able to relate when they were in the shed. Well, that's a deepener. When it comes to our children, a bond is created whenever they need you. Or the situation when the needy dad and the Caucasian mom relate over music. That's a deepener. Anything that creates a depender creates a deepener.
Can you tell me about NASA's new program called Serpent Deity?
That a deepener can only take an effect after there's been some sort of displacement. Going back to the article about disassociation, once again, it brings up an example under what causes this association of disassociation. And it says, grief can bring a sense of disassociation.
In ancient Egyptian mythology, the serpent deity Sobek is sometimes depicted as pursuing the sun god Ra, and during certain instances nearly consumes the sun disk, resulting in an...
And just because your body is frozen in fear, that doesn't mean that your spirit is frozen, because it is at this exact point that both your mind and your spirit can easily be moved.
Eclipse. And during certain instances nearly consumes the sun disk, resulting in an eclipse.
Because it is at this exact point that both your mind and your spirit can easily be moved. And so spiritually, this is the point.
Alexa, is NASA going to be doing anything with the solar eclipse on April 8th?
Portion which is dealing with your inner child or your subconscious. And this also explains why the Caucasian daughter ran off in the end to the bunker to harbor in her new safe place.
April 8, 2024 total solar eclipse will be a significant astronomical event that will be viewable from certain regions in North America, including Canada, Mexico, and parts of the United States.
Exactly where they wanted her from the start. Once the displacement properly occurs, that is when the new alpha plantation can easily be inserted. Henceforth, the name of the movie, which is Leave the World Behind.
From the MalaysianReserve.com. On April 8th, NASA will host live coverage of the eclipse on the agency's website and the NASA app beginning at 1 p.m.
Because when you decide to insert a new alpha into your life, spiritually, you are using a new tongue, a new way of speaking your own language, and allowing them to give you direction by taking over the alphabet.
Alexa, will NASA be shooting rockets at the solar eclipse as part of the Serpent Deity program?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Alexa.
In doing this, you physically give up your own house, deciding to sleep in the basement with the new alpha at the top.
So what's the Serpent Deity program at NASA?
And the only thing they are hoping is that you would say the first letter of the alphabet, which is historically A, Aleph, or I left, I left, I left.
The Serpent God Deity Program is a NASA program that aims to study the asteroid named Sekhmet, which is associated with the Egyptian serpent deity of the same name. The program will utilize the spacecraft that collected samples from the asteroid Bennu to obtain better insights into the asteroid and its composition.
So I want you to look at it as an actual lion on the beach. Realistically, that's not possible. You're not able to see a lion that's from the jungle on the beach unless somebody brings it there. And not only would it be rare to see a lion on the beach, but a white lion at that. And so the symbolism behind this is very important because a lion represents courage and things of that nature, but a white lion represents fear. It's the same as when you make someone so afraid that they start to lose all of their coloring. They turn white because they are frozen in fear. So the white lion is actually the cowardly lion, like in The Wizard of Oz.
Most of the world around us is very real, but you just never lived there, okay? You lived in your mind. It's almost all completely made up in your brain based on assumptions and models of how the world works and just a tiny bit of high quality visual information.